Welcome to IELTS Academy 9. I'm Yusr, and today we will learn how to vary our sentence structure by using the different sentence types, which are simple, compound, and complex. And actually this lesson is very important for the IELTS speaking and writing sections because it shows your advanced sentence structure that will definitely add to your score. So by the end of this video, you will be able to use these types very easily. Now, let's get started. The first thing you need to know before we dig into the three types is the difference between the independent clause and the dependent clause. And why do we need to know them? Because actually the three types of sentences are made of either independent or dependent clauses. Now let's start with the independent clause. It's a completed idea that can stand by itself. For example, Tom finished his homework. Full stop. It's a complete idea. We can understand it. It doesn't need any other part to complete the meaning. I speak English well. Very clear. You can understand it. Full stop. The dependent clause is the opposite. It's not a completed idea, so it cannot stand by itself. For example, after Tom finished his homework, there must be another part to complete the whole idea. So it's a dependent clause because it depends on another part that completes the meaning. If I speak English well, what will happen? This means we need another part to complete the meaning. Now you understand the difference between the independent clause and the dependent clause. Let's move to our first type, which is the simple sentence. A simple sentence is made of one independent clause. For example, the city has good restaurants. The city is the subject. Has is the verb. Good restaurants is the object. And you can understand it. It doesn't need any other part. Tom took the speaking test. Tom is the subject. Took is the verb. The speaking test is the object. And actually we can have a longer complement. Like I can say, Tom took the speaking test yesterday. I love my parents, full stop, a simple sentence. Or I can say I love my parents very much. However, a sentence like this might be confusing because it has and. Tom and his brother took the speaking test. But actually it's still a simple sentence, and that's why we use only a full stop. We don't use a comma before and. This is a simple sentence that has a compound subject, a subject that has two words. Another example. The city has good restaurants and hotels. Still a simple sentence with a compound object, good restaurants and hotels, an object that's made of two words. I love and respect my parents. Again, it's a simple sentence with a compound verb. These are simple sentences, and that's why we use a full stop. Please notice the punctuation because it's very important in writing. Now, let's move to the second type, which is the compound sentence. A compound sentence is made of two independent clauses. So if the simple sentence is made of one independent clause, the compound sentence is made of two independent clauses joined by different ways. The first way is the coordinating conjunctions. These are some linking words abbreviated in this acronym fanboys. F for, A and, N nor, B but, O or, Y yet, and S so. Now let's have some examples. I have many tasks, so I cannot leave early. I have many tasks is the first independent clause. I cannot leave early is the second independent clause, and we join them by so, which is one of the coordinating conjunctions. The weather is warmer, but it could rain any time. As you can see, the first independent clause, the weather is warmer. The second one, it could rain any time, and we have but as a conjunction. And notice the punctuation, we use a comma before the coordinating conjunction and a full stop at the end of the sentence. Lucy studied hard and she's ready to take the test. Lucy studied hard is the first independent clause. She's ready to take the test is the second independent clause, and we have and in the middle. The second way of joining the independent clauses to make a compound sentence is through using the conjunctive adverbs. These are some linking words, like this one. The car broke down, therefore we couldn't arrive on time. As you can see, the first independent clause, the car broke down. The second independent clause, we couldn't arrive on time, and we joined them by the conjunction therefore. Notice the punctuation here. We have a semicolon before the linking word and a comma after the linking word and a full stop at the end of the sentence. Michael is flexible, however, he needs to exert more efforts. As you can see, Michael is flexible, he needs to exert more efforts, and in the middle we have however. Parents should be vigilant. In other words, they should watch their children's behavior. Parents should be vigilant, our first independent clause. They should watch their children's behavior is the second independent clause, and in other words, in the middle. We can also write these sentences differently. See here, the car broke down, therefore we couldn't arrive on time. We can use the first clause as one simple sentence and use the linking word with the beginning of the second independent clause. So the car broke down, full stop, therefore we couldn't arrive on time, and here we use a comma after the linking word. Michael is flexible, however he needs to exert more efforts. As you can see, we begin the second sentence with the conjunctive adverb or the linking word. Parents should be vigilant, in other words, they should watch their children's behavior. And in this slide, you can find all the common English conjunctive adverb in this list. You can pause the video, read them, and then try to make your own sentences. The third and last way to make a compound sentence is simply through using the semicolon. It's a punctuation mark. We use it without any linking words. For example, I decided to enroll in the new cooking class. Later I changed my mind. As you can see, no linking words, only the semicolon between the first independent clause, I decided to enroll in the new cooking class, and the second independent clause, later I changed my mind. The city is well known for its architecture. Many tourists come to sightsee. It was a challenging exam. Many students couldn't pass it. Now let's move to the third type, which is the complex sentence. The complex sentence is made of two clauses. One of them is a dependent clause and the other is an independent clause. And we join them by subordinating conjunctions. They are some linking words. Now let's see some examples. If you study hard, you will pass the exam. As you can see, if is the subordinating conjunction. Study hard is the first clause, and actually it's dependent, because if I say, if you study hard, what will happen? There should be another part. You will pass the exam. So I have to complete it with another independent clause. While she was walking, she heard a scream. While is the linking word here. While she was walking, okay, what happened? She heard a scream. So while she was walking is the first dependent clause. She heard a scream is an independent clause that completes the meaning. Notice the punctuation here. We have a comma between both clauses and a full stop at the end. After my father had had his coffee, he headed to work. After my father had had his coffee, okay, what happened? He headed to work. So the first part here is the dependent clause, while the second part is the independent clause. We can also write it differently using the linking word in the middle. You will pass the exam if you study hard, and in this case we don't use any commas, only a full stop at the end of the sentence. She heard a scream while she was walking. He headed to his work after he had had his coffee. And here in this slide you can find the common English subordinating conjunctions. You can pause the video, read them, and try to make your sentences. And that's all for the three types, the simple, compound, and complex sentences. I hope you find them easy now. Thank you so much for watching, and please, if you find the video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to watch my new videos.